Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Riverdale, Season 1, Episode 10. It's called Chapter 10, The Lost Weekend. Full spoilers for the episode as always. So, Jughead's birthday is basically what this episode was. that was pretty much everything revolved around, obviously there was a little bit of plot with Archie's dad that was kind of sprinkled throughout, with Archie's dad going off to speak to his mother to sign divorce papers, enter yet another ginger into the show. I think highlights here were someone finally said twincest.
Yep. Yeah.
Someone just blatantly, and bless Veronica Lodge, because she just came out with it. Maybe you love your brother, just in a way that maybe you shouldn't love your brother. And maybe he thought that was a bit creepy.
We've been thinking it since the first episode.
I've been thinking it since the very first scene.
Well, yeah, exactly. So it's nice to see someone acknowledge that.
So it's good. That's good.
Yeah. I will say on the Veronica and Cheryl stuff, it was a little bit weird. Like that they were in such a rivalry again. It kind of felt like they'd kind of come to a somewhat of an understanding, but then she comes into cheerleading and they're just at each other.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I never really noticed it, but now you're mentioning it, I kind of see your point.
I mean, I was okay with it because it led to a minute or so of her dancing, so that's cool.
Oh yeah, but the 2-minute dance scene where Veronica and Cheryl just have a dance off basically in front of the cheerleaders.
Pretty much, yeah.
That felt. How did I describe how that felt? And no, I'm not going for something dirty here before anyone lets their mind wander. I'm going more of a negative thing here. It felt just a touch sleazy.
Yeah, just a bit.
Just
That said, if they want to put more in, I'm not going to complain.
Well, I'm not going to say I don't enjoy the sight. I'm just saying it
felt out of place.
It was 2 solid minutes of them dancing as sexy as possible to music. That's what it was. It was 2 full minutes of it, and it didn't need to be that long. They could have cut through it. They could have done all these things, but nah. The CW, they want their sex appeal and all the rest of it.
Pretty much.
So that was the thing. But so Betty's determined to throw this party for Jughead. She finds out it's his birthday. Jughead hasn't told her it's his birthday coming up because he doesn't like his birthday, doesn't like anyone doing anything for his birthday. And despite the fact that he repeatedly reiterates that he does not like doing things for his birthday, and the fact that everyone that Betty tries to say, oh, let's do a party or something for Jughead, every single person she talks to, other than Veronica because she doesn't know Jughead, but Archie, Jughead's dad, all of them, he doesn't like birthday parties, doesn't like his birthday, hates it, don't do that, that's a bad idea. It's like, no, it'll be lovely.
It's pretty selfish of her, really, wasn't it?
It was a bit. Which is why I think their fight worked for me quite a bit in this episode, because I kind of got both sides of it, which I liked. It worked for me in that sense, because from Jughead's point of view, he's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, he goes too far with some of his statements. He does. He goes down off the deep end and like, oh, maybe when Archie decides he wants you, I'll be dumped. That was a bridge too far. But the like, you know me or you don't know me enough to know that I would hate this. Like, why? Yeah, because I'm not quite as socially weird as Jughead is, but honestly, the thought of filling out a house full of people is something I would hate as well. If someone did that for me, I'd be like, what the hell are you doing?
Oh, I'm full on with him. I hate my birthdays. I don't do anything for mine.
I don't hate my birthdays. I
don't get the appeal of
I don't like a big deal, and I definitely don't like parties full of people in a house. None of that appeals to me whatsoever, especially when I barely know them. Don't get me wrong, the first part that she had, like the close inner circle, that's okay, that's fine. I'm fine with that. Like, I'm not that weird that I don't like that. But when you've got people who you barely know, and then so later on in the episode, when like Cheryl and Chuck kind of get in front of them and they block the door and they lock it, and I'm like, right, there's a lot of you. You can overpower them if you really want to get out. You're not that trapped. Calm yourselves a little bit here.
And it is Archie's house.
Yeah, Archie, if you wanted to, could tell people, if you can piss off, you can stay, you could do all this, or let them go. You could do it. Admittedly, he was drunk, but not thinking straight. But yeah, so back to the fight. And Betty's side of it, like, I get that she just didn't understand. She was trying to do something nice, and she can't fathom why this didn't work. What's funny though is that she comes out with the birthday cake, right? And she on her own sings happy birthday.
I thought it was weird that no one else joined in.
That is a bit weird, which I'd be okay in a slightly different scenario here, right? Right? See if she was singing sexily, I would get it. She's going, happy birthday. Like, doing that. Yeah. The whole Mr. President one, right? If she's doing that version, fine, I get it. It's just a girlfriend doing the sexy thing for the boyfriend, fine. But the way she sung it, and the way she sort of walked out slowly, and the way it was lit, in fact, he called it himself, he called it haunting, and that was the perfect word, because it felt like the intro to a horror movie.
It felt like someone was about to die.
Yeah, it felt kind of sinister, and because obviously this episode was teasing once again Dark Betty, which Chuck actually calls her Dark Betty at one point. And I'm all for Dark Betty, but all the secrets come out. Chuck and Cheryl forced them to play this stupid game. And it's not, they don't even make them play, just everyone else in the room starts like revealing things they know, and they figure things out. Oh, Archie was banging a teacher, Betty's got a dark alter ego that might kill you. What did Veronica do? Oh, she just made it with Archie in a closet.
Yeah,
that's
well, everyone already knew that.
Everyone, yeah, and as Veronica points out, that was mainly Cheryl's doing that caused that.
Yeah.
And Cheryl
wasn't really a big deal, was it?
Cheryl briskly moves on. It's like, she was the one you wanted to take down. She was the one you came in here as you said, Nemesis.
Fine, damn it. I'll get you next time.
It's like, you didn't come with the proper material. You look like a fool.
Pretty much.
And here's the end of it. I did enjoy that scene though. I liked the fight. I liked Jughead getting angry and punching Chuck. And my favourite part of it, though, I think, was Jughead's dad. As soon as it kicked off, he knew he had to get in there.
Yeah.
It was just the way he walked with a purpose, and it was like, if this Chuck tries anything, even like if he goes beyond that one punch, this guy's a gang member. He's going to mess you up.
It was kind of, when they went into the bar, and his dad walks down. It's like, nope, just stop it. Commands the scene. Really.
Yeah,
obviously, there he actually had authority, but he kind of does by default of being the only adult around. Yeah,
but it's almost in the eyes though. Like, when he takes him outside and like Chuck doesn't want to go, and he's like, "No, it's over. You're going right now." Like you can almost see in his eyes, he's saying, "Like, remember, I'm a serpent here. Come on. Like, I can have a bigger gang.
Look who I am."
Yeah, you know who I am. Which, by the way, he knows Betty's mum. Betty's mum used to be a serpent. That's what we learned in this one.
Yeah, it's interesting because she doesn't come across like that.
Well, I mean, it talks about how she's changed her life, and she was on the other side of the tracks. You don't dress like you used to, you don't do all this, but she's now a part of this lifestyle and whatever else. And that's interesting. That obviously alludes to a lot of what we've heard about her being capable of things and her having this past that she doesn't want to talk about.
Like her throwing rocks through windows.
Like her renegade past coming up. But, I mean, I actually thought she was doing a better job of being understanding of Betty. Like, the fact that she even brings her, like, aspirin because she assumes she has a hangover in the morning and doesn't lecture about being drunk. It was like, okay. Which, to be fair, it makes sense that the parents in this town don't care that much. After all, we have spoken in previous episodes about Veronica and her friends going to a nightclub and actually getting served booze.
That's what my mum was like. My mum once apologised for not having a fake ID to give me. I shit you not.
No, I'm not saying that that's not something that a lot of parents are like. A lot of parents are actually would rather you were just safe while you were doing it rather than try to stop you. Like, a lot of parents have that attitude, and that's fine. My point isn't that parents don't do that. My point is that Betty's mum did not strike me as a parent who would have that attitude in her previous.
No, that's fair.
Previous, stories and disputes. Like she's trying to dictate what friends Betty has. That doesn't strike me as a parent who's willing to let her get drunk on the weekend.
That's fair.
But now she comes in and she's almost like they're best friends now because she's like working at the same paper and she's like, all right, what can we do together? We're the Coopers. Cooper detective
sisters. It is kind of like that, isn't it?
Yeah, like she just came out to talk about Kevin's boyfriend. He's like, so the serpent's dating the sheriff's son. Look, she's putting two and two together.
Yeah, that's convenient, isn't it?
Yeah, very convenient. It's almost like he's getting information. Town's not that small. But that was good. Also, Dalton Doyley popped back up, and yes, I did look over to see what his name was. Who they all know is a psychopath. I believe is the line.
Yeah.
Sure.
Didn't really lead to much, did it?
Nah, it didn't. But I like that we've got these smaller characters that can just sort of pop in here or there.
Yeah. We know they exist and they have a place in this town, beyond just when the story needs them.
very different show, but I'm thinking of like Parks and Rec, like how that to have like these minor characters who would pop up a couple of times a season, like, and you remember them, like, you know, like the librarian or the guy who owns the Waffle Hut or whatever, and it'd be the same actor every time he popped up, and you'd get a little bit of them, you'd get a little sense of character, but they weren't big parts of the show.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that. It's kind of like you're filling the town with these bit players. Who
it just makes the town itself feel like it's a real place instead of just these group of people who we see.
Yeah. It feels like the town itself is more of a character in that sense, because you get a sense of all the regular people that we don't see on screen all the time, but these characters are probably interacting with.
Yes,
a lot. So that's pretty cool. So Archie's down. He drunk dials his dad. And then him and Veronica. Veronica is, of course, very conflicted because her father sends her a letter saying, look, if you don't say something nice about me to the court, you know, if you don't make a statement, your mother's is pretty guilty as well. You'll probably drag her down with me, and your life will probably be ruined. And which is why I was kind of shocked that she did make the statement. Like, I know she had that conversation with the doorman about is my mother a good person, and all that.
I guess it's just she doesn't want to risk it. She doesn't want to risk losing her mom as well.
She doesn't want to risk it, and I can get that part of it, but I think there's instant regret, because at the end, after she makes the statement and she opens that present, she gets the package, and it's a new set of pearls, and she said before how her dad would always buy her stuff when he messed up. Yeah. And it's almost like an instant bribe where she instantly gets, wait a minute, I've just been bought. Kind of feeling. That's what I was getting from it. Of course, though, in between all this, her and Archie kissed, and she spent the night not necessarily having sex, though. I feel like them pointing out that he was a gentleman and like let her have the bed and him slept on the floor kind of implies they didn't have sex.
Yeah, and she was still, fully dressed in the exact same clothes. He'd lost his shirt, but that was about it.
Yeah. But I think so, because I think the implication is kind of there. They might have done that, and then she looks down and sees that he's there, and she obviously feels relief as well. It's almost like she's waking up. She's not realised, wait, did I do something? Oh, right.
Yeah, because it starts the scene just on her in the bed, and you're kind of almost waiting for her to roll over and Archie to be there. I
like the idea that she wakes up and the first thing she sees is a giant DC Rebirth poster, and like, wait, where am I? This isn't my room. Or she's like, wait a minute, Rebirth poster? Wait. That's not Superman, that's Batman. This isn't my room. But nah, so, and Jughead's happy to be quiet. I like because obviously when Jughead and Betty had their fight, I was thinking, oh, maybe they are actually ending this year. Maybe this is the end of this boyfriend-girlfriend thing. But when he seemed to, like, when he discovered what she had done, and he sees the fingernail marks on her hand, he kind of realizes she's just as messed up as I am, just in a different way. She has a dark passenger. I'm just I'm in the middle all the time, but she goes from extremes, one end or the other. She's super nice, super nice blondie. Hey everyone, let's have a birthday party. Or she's evil with the stiletto, dunking your head in the pool and pouring champagne in your head like a little bitch, and telling you to say her name.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, but that's still a thing.
Good enough episode.
No, I liked it. I thought there was a couple of moments, maybe early on, like the whole setup of the birthday thing was a little. I mean, it was fine, but I kind of knew exactly what was going to happen when it eventually hit. I knew that Jughead wasn't just going to be cool with it. It felt so. Some of the opening 10 minutes of Betty setting it all up felt a little bit like, okay, I know where this is going, and we're going through all these motions. So that maybe hurt the not quite the pacing, but it
is the flow a bit, isn't it? It's I took too long on that bit to make its point when it had already done it.
Yeah, it was evident exactly how Jughead was going to feel. Maybe not exactly how he would react, but we knew it wasn't going to be, oh, thanks everybody, oh, party, yeah, I love parties.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be that reaction, and we could tell that. And as someone, as I say, someone who's also a bit of a weirdo and that doesn't like some stuff like that, I know he's not going to have his mind change because the girlfriend did a nice thing.
Yeah.
No, you sit down and go, look, I really don't like this.
Yeah, it made some of that early stuff feel a bit redundant. Because it was like, we get it. We don't need to see it so many times.
Once we get past that, though, and we got to the cruel game, and we got to the confrontations and the fights, then it all kind of perked up. Then it got
that stuff was fun. Not enough stuff on the case, though, because we didn't really get anything.
Nah, obviously there was some talk about could it have been Hiram. Obviously Veronica knows about overhearing the Blossoms, and everyone kind of knows about that now in the main group, and That's fine, but
nothing really happens with any of this information this episode.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. But of course, yeah. So the dad, I mean, seemingly has. When I say dad, I mean Fred, Archie's dad. I just said the dad.
Yeah, I was like, which one?
I could be talking about several people. But he appears to have not signed the divorce papers because he's brought the mother back. He's brought Molly Ringwald has stepped into the show. I'd forgotten it was
Molly Ringwald.
I had not. I was expecting her.
I'd forgotten about that casting because it was a long time ago now that we heard about that.
I wasn't necessarily expecting it in this episode. I thought maybe a next episode thing when he gets back. But obviously, once it was like, oh, Dad's back at the end, I was like, oh, she's going to walk in now. It was kind of clear that's what's about to happen. Because we needed another ginger on the show. Because there's not enough of them.
World, so I'm fine with this.
I'm only joking. She's alright. I've only seen her in one movie, alright?
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, Breakfast Club.
Fair enough.
That I know of. What else should she been in?
Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles.
Nah, I haven't seen those Brat Pack movies.
Fair enough. What can you say? You should probably see them.
No. It's rare that you've seen a movie that I've not.
It is, actually.
Oh, and for the record, I have seen The Lost Weekend, which this movie is named after.
I have not.
What a surprise. All is right in the world. Disaster averted. All is right in the world.
That could have been weird, couldn't it?
But I thought it was a solid enough episode. Some problems early on, but once all the confrontations started going down, there was good things to come out of it. So that's this week's Riverdale. We have 3 more, I believe, in the season.
Yes.
So if I'm going to make a complaint about the season as a whole at this point, is it does feel like the case has not been at the forefront of most of it now.
Well, that was the thing. I'd get this sort of stuff a little bit earlier, but we're in like the back third of the season, and it feels like this is where the case should be ramping up. These last like 4 or 5 episodes, this is where it should be mostly about that.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it's always just been a minor subplot almost beyond the first like episode or 2 where it was really what everyone was talking about. Whereas, I mean, I don't really know how much advancement we've really had in the case, really. In the last, like, say, 7 episodes, there's not been a lot.
I mean, we got as far as knowing...
Serpents have got the jacket, and...
Yeah, well, I mean, even knowing about Polly, kind of, that was a big thing, right?
Knowing what about Polly?
Just that she was involved in all of it. And
right, okay.
That was... Like, that whole thing was about middle of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It feels like the case has mostly been a minor thing for most of the season. And it was like, when they set up the whole investigation in the newspaper, they showed, Jughead and Betty had the pin board. It was like, all right, we're going to get into the case now. They're going to be investigating things. And they did it for like 1 or 2 episodes. There was, snooping around the Blossom House and things like that. Yeah. But then it seems to have mostly just kind of...
Maybe we can get back on track for these last couple and, really focus down on it.
With a bit of luck. I really hope we get the killer in the finale. Because they have been renewed, and I'm just a little bit worried they're going to pull the killing and not give us the killer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure before the season started they said it would all be resolved this season.
Okay.
But unless something changed along the way.
Probably not, but...
Yeah.
There you go, that's this week's Riverdale. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mail_fuzz for channel updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen for our everyday ramblings. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Have you got any vanilla?